What is up, and welcome to this week's Motivate Your Monday. Alright guys, if you remember the topic last week, I was talking about the fact that you have to do it yourself. And somebody who saw the video that I speak with on a weekly basis talked to me and they were like, I feel like I just want to skip this part. I wish I could just be on the other side of what I'm going through. I feel like I just wish that I could get past the part that's hard so that I could just understand what I'm going through now. And it made sense because she had been going through a lot of stuff, and what I was training her for, she was having a lot of trouble with it. So she was just like, I hate not having it. I hate not being where I feel like I should be. And if you guys remember last week, I told you, if you were supposed to be there, you'd be there. There's something in the way that's stopping you from getting where you feel as though you should be. But the way she put it to me reminded me of something I had seen a long time ago when I was a kid. And there was a big lesson in it. Why do you feel like you need to skip the parts that are difficult? There's a reason why you are going through difficult parts. I told you, there's something you're supposed to get out of it. And people want to be successful, or people want it to be so easy, so fast, that they don't understand that the growth and the knowledge and the skills that you actually acquire aren't acquired in success, they're acquired for success. What it reminded me of was a movie I saw way back in the day. It was a comedy, but there was a big lesson in it. A movie with Adam Sandler. It was called Click. The whole premise to the movie was Adam Sandler had the ability, because he had the ability given to him by death. And the ability was he could treat his life as if he was watching a TV show. He was given a remote and he was able to pause, put subtitles, change the color, and skip anything that was boring him or that he didn't want to go through. And at first it was great. He was skipping traffic, he was skipping being sick, he would be able to pause and think about things going on. If he was angry, there was one part where he smacked his boss and his boss didn't even know. It was a comedy, but at the same time, there was a big underlying message to the movie. Adam Sandler always skipped things that he didn't want to go through. He didn't want to drive the traffic, so anytime he was going to drive to work, he would just skip it and wake up at work. Anytime he got sick, he would just press the skip button and eventually he would just be at the end of his sickness. But what death didn't tell him was that the remote was programmable and it remembered the themes that people tended to use. So eventually it started going on autopilot. It would skip every time he was sick, it would skip every time he wanted to drive through traffic, and it would also skip when he had to decide between his family and work. Work always won. And the message behind it that he got at the end was that you have to go through these things, because what he didn't understand originally was he was just skipping traffic. No, he was skipping everything in between traffic. He was skipping everything from the time he walked out of the door of his job to the time he walked in the door of his house, and from the time he left his house to the time he walked into his job. So he was missing all the information, and that's where I feel like the lesson was. He was going through life skipping everything he didn't want to go through, and he was missing important knowledge. So every time he woke up from skipping, he had no idea what had happened in the time before. So one time he was sick for months and he had no idea what was going on. He got cancer and he had no idea what happened in that time span. So the lessons that he was supposed to learn, same as us and the lessons we're supposed to learn when we're trying to become successful, he was skipping, and he had no knowledge of what he was going to do, supposed to do, or had done in the period of time that he skipped. So if you take that same concept and you go through your life, I wish I could just skip this part and be successful. I wish I could just skip this part and be good at something. If you skip this part, you wouldn't have the skills you need. You can't treat your life or wish to treat your life as though you're not supposed to have these lessons in order to be successful. I said the concept last week of blueprints. How can you create a blueprint for success if you don't know how you got there? How can you create a blueprint for success if somebody guided you and you didn't get anything you were supposed to get out of it? You wish that you could skip this part. What if I let you skip all this and I gave you all of the skills that you need, but I didn't give you any of the knowledge of how you got it? You would have all these physical skills. Let's say I trained you to be a perfect athlete in any sport, but I didn't teach you any of the fundamentals that come along with it. Your body's ready, but your mind's not ready. Now, what happens? You still have to go back and use your body and learn all these things that you still don't know. Skipping it isn't an option. Don't wish that it would be, because whatever you're going through, there's a reason you're going through it. And if you feel as though there's a reason that you're going through it, you have to go through it in order to get those things out of it. Grow through the process. You have to trust the process. The process is there for you. The process isn't there to hinder you. The process is there to prepare you for what comes after. We talked about it a long time ago. There's checkpoints in life, and you won't reach those checkpoints unless you go through the process. You can't do it like leapfrog and just say, beginning, middle, end, and now I'm done. It's beginning, and then it's everything from the beginning to the middle. Then it's the middle, and it's everything from the middle to the end. And you have to retain the important things, otherwise you will not be able to hold that position. It's like running a race against other people, and then when you get to checkpoints, trading out. It would be great if you could trade out because you'd have somebody with fresh legs, but at the same time, if you were running that race, you would have all of the knowledge of what happened. This guy got hurt, this guy was lagging. You would understand what you have to do for the next leg of the race. And a lot of people just want to skip past those parts. Even if you finished first place in a race, would it really matter if you have no idea who you raced behind you? I didn't think so. Because you need that knowledge that's behind you. You need that knowledge in order to push you forward. I say it at the end of every video. Your success is a theory. It's not a fact. Your success is something you want to happen, and it's something you have to prove. If your success is a theory, you need to get out there, prove your theory, prove yourself. See you guys next week.